what's going on in Peru. You went there yesterday. You went there last week. No, but you did go. It was amazing.
I was there yesterday, yes.
Please let us know what's
12
up, because I'm sitting on pins and needles over here. Tell me he won, Charlie. Tell me he won.
Well, Pedro Castillo has declared victory officially. However, the ONPE has counted all of the ballots, including the ones that were they had to be substantiated. So there's the counting of ballots, and then they had to make sure that they were all good. And so the OMPE, the electoral office, the National Electoral Office, already said yes, 100% reporting, 100% substantiated. Pedro Castillo is winning, has won effectively. However, the JNE is still going over las actas, which are the tallies that Keiko is alleging are fraudulent. And so that's what's happening. He has, however, done something that he didn't do before, which is claimed victory. And so have other officials, even in opposition to him, have said he is effectively the president-elect. So this is a whole other thing. I just wanted to put the Guardian that they're basically saying that that's what happened. But more than anything, I wanted to really read his tweet.
This is his tweeter?
His tweet. So the next slide, he says, a new day has begun. Millions of Peruvians have stood up in defense of dignity and justice. Thanks to the people of Peru, who from their diversity and historic strength have given me their trust. My government, our government, will be a government by all of the people. So he is once again claiming victory. He's claiming himself victorious, and he's saying that the government will be by and for the people, reemphasizing his whole campaign message. No more poor people in a rich country. You know, we need to really work with the people, have the people really lead, because in Peru, there's a lot of privatization going on. So he's just emphasizing that again. Here is the chart I wanted to show you guys of the OMPE. Here is the actualización de resultados. So actas contabilizadas, which means that these have been accounted for. So it's not just the ones that have been processed, but the ones that have been double checked, 100%. With 100% reporting, he is at 50.125 to Keiko's 49.875. He is winning her by a substantial margin still. And there's no denying that. So by the OMPE's accounts, that's it. They're done. But now the JNE has to say something, right? So I'm just going to break down what I wrote.
This is
here,
my
tweets.
My tweetsers.
So I said breaking. The OMPE official has counted all of the votes, including the ones in question. Pedro Castillo is the president of Peru with 100% of the votes counted. Keiko Fujimori still refuses to concede. She is absolutely still refusing to concede until the JNE of Peru, and you guys can look at their account yourself, admits it's not 100% official. So they have to verify what they were looking at. Most politicians, including those in his opposition, have said he is the effective winner. This has never happened in the history of Peru before, where it's taken this long to decide a winner. Like never. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the JNE still has to give their verdict on las actas, which Keiko is alleging were the fraudulent ones. And it will be given by the end of this week or before. So that's the latest that we have as of this morning at like 5 a.m. And there's a JNE. And you can see them right here. And it says that in Spanish, the JNE will proclaim the results of the presidential elections once resolving the appeals over the observed actas, of the observed tallies, and the petition of nullification. So, and that's what they're going to do. So basically, they're still looking at this, and they could potentially still be like, oh, these are no, Keiko won. They could potentially do that. She has people in the JNE who people claim have been bought off. I'm still, I want to be happy. I want to celebrate, and I am, but I'm still I'm not going to let out a sigh of relief until this fucking shit is done right here, because this is how they can still do it. Now, Pedro Castillo, though, him claiming victory means he's not going to accept them overturning it, which is important because
That's the
that
difference
means
of today.
yeah,
Okay.
because that means that like most people, including like in Peru, even people who are on Keiko's side are like, okay, he won. Like you can't, you know. And so it might take a little bit. She's doing everything she can to to continue this whole process. So there are reports that thousands of ronderos and thousands of people from the provinces have come to the capital city of Lima to demand an official call to victory for Pedro Castillo. And Keiko Fujimori, of course, are the only, and her supporters are the only ones that are actually saying, no, we're not conceding. This is the opposite. And there have been like altercations between the two as of recent. And that started even when I was there. You know, they were trying to start things. So yeah, so that's happening. But I wanted you guys to see some of these pictures.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not being
some of these pictures.
They're not even pressed. You can see the picture right there.
Wow. Click on them.
That's well, I think that's just a tweet that he has, but we have more. We'll show the next
Oh
ones.
yeah, we do have pictures. Never mind. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. So then I wanted us to click on this the Facebook video actually first, and then we'll go through the pictures.
Number 4.
Slide to the left 4.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah, so that's just a Facebook video. And we can just fast forward through. I just want to see, I wanted to show the people in Lima.
I love the giant pencils.
Yeah, the giant pencils are
giant pencils are amazing.
Look at them. They're all marching in the capital. I mean, that must have been, I wanted that.
This is where
I'm so mad.
Damn, you should have stayed another week.
I should have.
Well, we didn't know this was going to happen. This has never happened before. It's unprecedented. Yeah. Because of the way that the elections are set up, usually you get a result that night. Yeah. Which is, I have some questions once we're through this picture, because I know a lot of people are still saying, oh, Keiko Fujimori, she's doing what Donald Trump is doing.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
It's like, we should talk about that shit after. So.
I think we've talked about it at nauseum, but I just feel like people are still saying that. It's really obnoxious. But yeah, I love the giant pencils, and it's just great. The energy, the people of Peru, especially the working class from outside of Lima, have come in, because Lima, like I said, is a Keiko city. Like the majority of big business is there, more wealth is there, and this idea that, you know, these people surrounding Lima are lesser than still exists. So I love it.
I want a giant pencil.
I freaking love it. Yeah, I want a giant pencil. Pedro Castillo's people. Mándanos un lápiz, por favor. So let's just click on slide 5, Oz. We can go through the pictures.
Yeah.
If you guys want to watch that, it's I'll put it in the description later so you guys can watch the whole. It's just a whole live stream. It's on Pedro Castillo's page on Facebook. But guys, this is from last night. The pictures of him celebrating. You can see him overlooking the crowd there.
Yeah.
You can see all of these people that were there. I mean, when I was there were still that many people, but now it's like, okay, he's declaring victory. This is what we wanted to hear that day, him declaring victory, right? And there are the people, and there he is also giving a thumbs up, you know, like, hey, we won. And that's the balcony that he kept coming out from. And then the final picture is just him with the people behind him, which is, I think, an awesome picture because you can see literally the people behind him. Yeah, so that's the update, guys. Like I said, this is good. This is really good. That means he's claiming victory. That means it's going to be more difficult. People are going to get angry if they do anything. And I have a feeling it's going to be very difficult for them to overturn it, because they know that the people are like ready to pounce it right now in Peru. So I don't think they're going to do it. I think he's going to win. However, can't put it past the OAS, the CIA, the establishment to come in and try to do this. So that's, I mean, just because he won doesn't mean he's safe, guys, because again, lithium, we got Keiko's party who has a substantial, they're less than the Fuerza Popular, than the Perú Libre. Her party, Fuerza Popular, has less people, but they have combined with other parties to stand against him. So he's going to face strong.
They're going to find his name in Epstein's black book all of a sudden. Hey, look, Pedro Castillo is in Epstein's black book.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They're going to try to manufacture some type of like negative thing against Pedro Castillo.
Well, they already are. Yeah.
Well, they're going to go
They're
deeper.
saying he's not that great. They're all the headlines. Oh, he's really not that.
But they got to give
da, 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 da,
something
all these
juicy,
things.
fam. Juicy to the American people so they can fucking buy into this.
It's going to be hard
we
for
got to
them
remove
find
Pedro
anything on this
Castillo.
guy.
He's done something really, really
Well,
awful.
the juicy thing was the whole affiliation with Shining Path, which they don't really have evidence of. They were just saying in the propaganda stuff.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Let's talk about just briefly and get this out there and stuff like, because I know a lot of people are saying, well, why don't they just Donald Trump do with what they're doing in Peru and just concede? I mean, why is he trying to do the same thing that Keiko Fujimori is trying to do and trying to protest these elections? Why won't he
Donald
just
Trump
accept
isn't
defeat?
doing that, dude.
Yeah.
He's not doing that. That's people who felt like the election was unfair. It's not Donald Trump leading it. He didn't pay for it. He's not doing it right now. Like the thing is, you can't compare apples and oranges. People have this like knee-jerk like reaction to this knee-jerk like just impulse to compare Peru with like a country that has proprietary software and electronic voting. Like, I'm sorry, it's two completely different things. You can trace here. They literally have like the hand-marked paper ballots, and then they destroy those, and then they have the whole tallies. They have the whole process. I had to go and ask and speak to the leader of the OMPE in that little area in order to get inside and even film from the outside. Like, it was hard. You don't just like get to go in there and film. They have a specific process. Now, it's not perfect by any means, right? I spoke about this on Missy's show. Them destroying the ballots. I don't think that's a great idea right away, and not until you have the full count. Them lacking a little bit of accessibility for people who are disabled isn't great. Just not counting it publicly. I think that should be a public thing, so you never have any sign of like, oh, this person did this and that.
Yeah.
And yeah, but what they do have is like a chain of custody where they deliver the ballots are delivered via truck at a certain time. They have like the mesas already accounted for, who's going to vote where, what specific table they're going to get into. You can trace, like, again, paper ballots. You have 3 to 5 minutes wait times to go vote.
Yeah. You
have to bring your DNI, which allows security that we would consider right wing here. And so it's, when you have all those things, like if you had all those things here, you wouldn't have the part of the idiotic right that thinks, oh, like illegals are voting, because you would dispel all that, because you would have like a vote of like an ID or some form of verification. But in Peru, they're able to give everybody IDs, even people who live in the mountains at the very tippy top of the Andes. Somehow Peru's able to give them IDs, but you can't give people IDs here. So I wouldn't have a problem with IDs if everybody had access to a fucking ID.
Yeah. But
they make it so hard to get one here too.
Let me just say this much: it's not so much the ID that really, when you show up, is the issue, and that's being kind of like the waters are being muddied. It's your absentee ballots, which don't exist over in Peru, except for certain situations, maybe for military, whatnot, and everything like that. If in fact the United States had the same voting rules as Peru, Donald Trump and his followers would take it hands down and go, okay, let's go. Day of voting, hand-marked ballots, show up with ID, one day only, and then we'll count the votes. Let's do it.
Yeah, one day only.
They'll do that in a heartbeat. But the fact is that we have weeks of voting, absentee ballots. You don't know where they're coming from.
Ballot harvesting.
You don't need identification in some states now with these new rules they enacted. I mean, they gamed the rules so badly, and they twisted the emotions of the progressives to go ahead and follow this whole situation. But yes, if we had the same rules here that they did in Peru, Donald Trump and his followers would take it hands down like, okay, absolutely, no absentee ballots, no mail-in ballots. Let me see you show, because then you'd have to get all these people to show up for Biden.
You wouldn't
not
get
gonna happen.
And in Peru, like they were even saying, there's no way she can come back. That's too many votes. I'm like, well, you know what? That happened in America. I'm like, somehow Joe Biden caught up with hundreds of thousands of votes, and they're like, yeah, I was watching that. That there's something fishy with that. Yeah. Like literally Peruvians saying like that doesn't make any sense because that doesn't like that. It's very, from the moment he was ahead by like 40,000 votes, they were like, oh, there's no way that she's going to catch up because it's statistically unlikely.
Yep.
It's statistically improbable.
Yep.
You cannot be comparing two very different situations just because she's on the right and so is Trump. Guess what? Biden's also on the right. She's a global capitalist. Yes, she's a right winger, but in more than anything, she is a global capitalist who wants to privatize Peru and the resources. And guess who's going to be right along with that? The United States, NATO, they're all like in line, whether it was Trump or whether it's Biden, they're all going to fucking fall in line, especially Joe Biden, more even than Donald Trump. And that's a reality that people have to understand, not just like geopolitically, but also like we like study elections. These elections are completely done in a different way that I think would have pacified some of the people's concerns about just any sort of type of rigging. And if you instead of pacifying those concerns, you mock them, you're going to create a society where people don't trust the system. And I guess that's fine at this point, because who the fuck cares? Who the fuck believes in it? Trust me, I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people who aren't even political don't vote because they feel like our elections are shit. So that apathy doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It happens because we haven't been shown that we can trust the system. So instead of blaming people for not trusting the system, for wanting verification, why don't we fucking fix the system? But no, they don't want to do it. They just want to call everybody a right winger who simply wants election integrity. And I don't have to agree with a lot of this Republican ideology to say we want election integrity. So we could just at least get that. But that is just like ridiculous at this point that I have to keep pointing this out.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of awesome that you mentioned the point that Joe Biden is worse when it comes to the global South and the globalism. He is worse than Donald Trump.
He gets away with it.
He's appointing people like, inside the OAN that are like adversaries to people within the El Salvador government. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he's worse. A lot of people don't pay attention to what's going on. Just like Obama, terrible in the global South, terrible with Venezuela, and then ditto to Donald Trump. So that is that.